So, if you've watched the show over the years, you know I'm really petty. And Quad and I were really close for a
Yeah.
few years. And I just feel like Quad has handed me her backside to kiss. And we haven't been close in years. So for me, I wasn't even thinking about or considering her feelings. I did not care what she would think or how she would feel. Now, whether that was right or whether that was petty,
You're doing you, though.
I'm doing me.
I want to gab. All right, today we're gabbing with Dr. Simone Whitmore, one of the several OGs still delivering incredible TV 10 seasons into Married to Medicine's run. Dr. Simone, in my eyes, has been on one of the all-time Bravo journeys on this show, and I'm so thankful for everything she's given us over the years. Dr. Simone, thank you so much for being here today. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well on this Friday. I'm working, but I'm doing well.
I see we're calling in from the office. I love that.
No, from the hospital.
Oh, from the
I'm at home.
hospital.
I have a patient on labor and delivery.
Oh my gosh. Wow. You
Yes.
really do it all. And honestly, I have so much respect for you. And I guess right off the bat, I'm curious, Simone, we're on season 10 of this show. And, when you think back to the entire run and maybe where you were in your life when you signed on for season one, what were your expectations when you first signed on to Married to Medicine? And how is your experience different from those expectations?
Well, first of all, the year we signed on, there was no show. So I didn't even know if we filmed, if we would have a show,
Right.
right? But to enter into the unknown, and filming was, it was a complete surprise that first season because that wasn't kind of how I was thinking our show was going to go. And you never know until you really get in it,
Of
right?
course.
But once I got in it, and it was a scary experience, but after I saw the amazing job that my production company does with editing and with the music, I fell in love with our show and what we had to offer. See, so when I watch a lot of reality TV, and I felt like our show did offer some stuff that was a little bit different than what everybody else was offering,
I
with the
completely
most
agree.
important being all these Black doctors on national TV.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I've learned so much from the show in that respect. And I think, one of the main constants of this entire run has been you and Dr. Jackie bringing us into your work as doctors and also into your friendship. And, I still love that we get to see those little lunches that you guys have together, and you talk about work, but you also make me laugh and you also have
Yes.
emotional, frank conversations. It kind of runs the gamut, I would say, just between you two.
Yes.
And it's not been a completely smooth ride for you and Jackie over the years, but I do love the
Right.
place that you guys are at now and that you've worked through some of those things. Can you just speak a little bit to that connection, the importance of having you two on this show still, and just your friendship, because it really is really special.
Yes. Jackie and I have been friends for over 20 years. So we were friends long before this reality show came about. And we had already experienced some of life's personal challenges as friends. Well, what I mean, we had individual personal challenges that we had supported each other through in our
Right.
friendship. We assumed on this platform, we were cocked up thinking that nothing could interfere in our
Yeah.
friendship. And we found out the hard way that,
Hmm.
the drama with the ladies can interfere with our friendship. And we made a decision this year that we would never let anyone or anything come between our friendship again.
Was that a decision you guys made before filming this season, after filming last season? What went into like the timing of saying that?
I just think it was just a realization that our friendship should have never had the breakdown. We should have had more one-on-one conversations when something was going wrong or that we felt something was going wrong. Life is all about communication.
I was about to say, I feel like the real reason for whatever that temporary rift was just a lack of communication, if I remember
Yes,
correctly.
it was. It was.
Yeah. So Simone, already this season, some of my favorite scenes have just been your scenes with Cecil and the boys. Like, I just love how much you cut through the BS with them. You tell it like it is. I'm thinking about that moment that you're talking to Miles and you're just like you're dragging your foot behind you because he's dragging his feet. Like you really got up
He's
and did
dragging
that.
his feet through
Right.
college.
Exactly. There we go. But I just love those scenes so much because they're just so real and you just say it like it is. And I again I have respect for that. What is the update on Michael and Miles right now? Because again, I'm sure we'll see more of that as the season goes on.
Mhm. So Miles and Michael are still both in college, but Miles has an expiration date if he's not
As
finished.
we've heard on the show.
Skirt, he's getting the cut off. And the thing is, Cecil's not going to allow me to cut him all the way off. But one thing that I did do this year that I've never done, he had to pay half of his tuition.
Wow.
Call me the mean mama, MM.
But you know what? You're setting him up for success in the real world, I would say. So you know what? I'm sure you've heard it all. So just do your thing. You know what I mean?
And Cecil's the cool dad. He's their
Of
friend. He
course.
can relate to them. One of the things I had to get therapy for in real life was just allowing him to parent however he wants to parent. Because I wanted him to parent exactly the way I parent. And we're two different people.
Yeah, yeah, then that's a really important acknowledgement to make. I think, especially as your
Hmm.
sons are getting older, and and like you're preparing them for the real world in such a it's coming, like
Yeah, right.
they're in college. So, yeah, it's been really fun to watch that. I just wanted to say that before. So, obviously going into this season 10, I feel like there were two extremely notable additions to this group.
Mhm.
Obviously we had Phaedra joining the show. She had done years on Atlanta, but she had not been on Bravo for a little bit of time. We had Letitia, aka Sweet Tea, joining as the fiance of Quad's ex-husband, Dr. G.
Yes.
So let's start with the latter. After Quad got divorced from Dr. G, did you ever think he would be back kind of in the circle with the show?
Did I think Gregory would be
Yeah,
back?
did you ever envision a
I
world where that would
never
happen?
imagined it, but Cecil has remained friends with Gregory this entire time. So they play golf. We've been at events and met women that he was dating. And then when we met and they fell in love, so he's been involved in our lives and we've been involved in his life. But never did I imagine in a million years that he would be back in this circle hanging out and Quad still there as well.
Right, right, and obviously, if someone were to interpret this as having sides in this group, Quad is sort of on the other side because she's really close to Heavenly, and I'm curious of like, obviously, it sounded like Dr. G and T by extension kind of again remained in your life, but did you ever worry kind of having her in the group with the show, like what message that would send in terms of like defending her and welcoming her
Yeah.
into this experience?
Yeah. So if you've watched the show over the years,
Hmm.
I'm really petty. And Quad and I were really close for a few
Yeah.
years. And I just feel like Quad has handed me her backside to kiss. And we haven't been close in years. So for me, I wasn't even thinking about or considering her feelings. I did not care what she would think or how she would feel. Now, whether that was right or whether that was petty,
You're doing you though.
I'm doing me.
Right.
I feel like Quad does her, and she acts like we're such a negative group to be around, or that we're too nosy. So, and T and I, we have a natural connection. I enjoy spending time with her. I enjoy spending time with her and
Mm.
Gregory. And so I didn't really consider Quad's feelings. I'm
Okay.
not going to
That's
lie about
fair.
that.
That's fair. And I want to circle back to Quad in a second, but Sweet Tea told me, because I interviewed her yesterday, that Heavenly was really the one that reached out to her and convinced her to do this whole thing. But she kind
Mhm.
of feels like once she did join, that Heavenly kind of flipped on her, especially once Quad sort of came back into the picture. What's your perspective on that dynamic and how Sweet Tea was brought in?
I think that, Heavenly teasing her about joining the friend group, I think was completely fine. I'm glad she joined it. But the thing is heavenly.
Hmm.
She's not really that heavenly, but maybe Letitia didn't watch the show, or maybe she didn't really do her homework. Everybody gets fooled into thinking heavenly will not flip on them, but she isn't really flipping. She's always giving her unfiltered truth about each and every one of us, and
Yeah.
she doesn't really spare us. And so why Sweet Tea thought she was going to be spared by Heavenly, I don't know.
Right. So there's maybe like a little bit of a naivete about sort of just Heavenly's nature, maybe when it comes to
Yeah,
the show.
she's
Right.
very naive about who Heavenly is.
Mm. Mm. So circling back to Quad, I feel like it's been alluded to that, like, there was a disconnect between Quad and the group, and she was sort of cutting off communication with them. But I don't feel like I've gotten a clear sense of, like, how long that lasted or why that was. Again, what is your perspective on Quad's disconnect from the group and how she sort of re-entered for this season?
Quad frequently, feels like, well, we're just trying to get in her business. No, we've known you for a long time. We're concerned about you and we're just asking about you. And I feel like Quad is so hot and cold most of the time, where she behaves almost like she doesn't want to be around us.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so that's not a cool feeling. And that's definitely not a cool aura to be given off to us. And she has really, to me, distanced herself. Like, I haven't seen Quad. We had dinner after leaving New York, and then a month later saw her at BravoCon, and then we had dinner, but then I didn't see her again until filming started. That's not a friendship.
Right. And do you think that she kind of expects to come back in and be treated as if it's just like this strong friendship, and that the disconnect never happened? It's because it seems like she comes in and then it's sort of like, why am I being pushed to the side a little bit? You know what I mean?
Right. That may be her expectation, but for me, that's like a fake expectation and
Right.
unrealistic.
Sure.
And to paint the narrative that we're mistreating her as friends because we're bonding with somebody who's around, somebody we're going to dinner with, somebody we're hanging out with all year long, is just not a fair depiction of the situation. Like, and from year to year, who even knows whether or not Quad plans to be around the friend group
Got it.
and be on this platform?
Got it. The last thing about Quad is, you and Toya are very close, and I feel like when I click on the Married to Med hashtag, one of the things is like people not really understanding exactly why Toya has such a problem with Quad. Is it similar to what we're talking about now, or is there something else between them that you know about?
I just think that as they're the two wives who've been here the longest. And I think that there's head bumping, one, because there's a little competition,
Right.
right? But two, they're the two wives that really should be together. And for whatever reason, they just cannot make
They
it
can't.
happen.
They can't.
And the other thing is that, Quad might throw a little shade to Toya, and then Toya takes it in a way that's deeper than how it was meant, and vice versa. Toya throws a little shade at Quad,
Right.
thinking, okay, girl, you shaded me, I'm gonna shade you back. And then Quad has a whole meltdown. But that is the nature of their relationship. It is
It's just
just,
like it's a circle.
it's a
Right.
toxic circle
Right.
that they cannot break.
Right. Which is, you want to see them. You really do want to see them break it, but I feel like at some point maybe you just kind of give up on it. Right. It's like,
And they've had years, maybe not the whole year, but I've seen them be friends,
yeah.
hang out, love on each other. I've seen it.
Hmm.
And why they
It's
can't get
possible.
that back
Right.
on
They just can't
track, I
maintain
don't
it.
know.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Some of the other big addition is obviously Phaedra. We mentioned that. What is your relationship like with Phaedra, and what do you think she's brought to this group?
Hmm. I think Phaedra, as a professional, as a lawyer, I think she can definitely relate to all of us.
Yeah.
I think she brings a very peaceful and zen um, aura to the group, but there are times when I would like to know her thoughts and opinions, and she ain't really giving us her thoughts sometimes. She's making faces. Child, but but we want to know what's
But
going on
you want her to
inside her
verbalize
head.
that, right? You want her to
Yes.
verbalize that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't want to be at odds with her, but I do want to know what she's
Certainly not.
thinking.
No, she can, yeah,
Whew,
she can spar for sure with her
she's
words,
a
right?
word wizard. I don't want to
She
be at
really
odds with
is.
Phaedra. Yeah.
She really is.
Mhm.
But I do feel like, her bringing Quad around to the bachelorette party, like she's doing a little bit of pot stirring, and she's, but it maybe, I guess, in the moment, is she not, she's not doing that. She's not kind of,
Well, the thing that I think is she's trying to build a bridge between Quad and us, and she don't
right.
really have the backstory. She literally only had Quad's interpretation or opinion, and you have to have the full story before you can start trying to build a bridge.
Hmm.
You've got to have all the parts.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe it took this first introduction season, and maybe season 11. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just spitballing here.
yeah, yeah. But I like Phaedra, and
Yeah.
she's been a welcomed, surprisingly pleasant and positive addition to this show.
Yeah. I feel like it's a very seamless, kind of natural, I think, addition
Yes,
of her. Yeah.
definitely seamless. That's a good way
Totally.
to put it. I'm
Yeah.
going to steal that from you.
Do it. You have my permission. Dr. Simone, there's two other things that I think I've seen kind of be common denominators in some of the conversation around this season on social media. One is that, there is definitely a faction of fans that want Mariah back. It's like they always kind of want Mariah back. That's always something they ask for. What is your perspective on that idea? Would you want to see her back in this group? Do you think it would work?
I think Mariah makes amazing TV. She's funny, she's witty. I just think she doesn't get along with a lot of the ladies.
Yeah,
And I think, um, I don't know how um, you could mend ways, because you know how they say absence makes the heart grow
of
fonder. I
course.
think in this situation, her absence has probably turned some of these hearts to stone.
Ah, okay.
Uh-huh. And I don't know. I don't even know how she would fit in again,
Right.
because she just doesn't get along with people. And there are office politics, and there are where you have to play nice at the water cooler. And I
Hmm.
just think that she never got that. She didn't mind being on an island. You
Got it.
can't really be on an island with
No,
a group of
no, you
girlfriends.
can't. No, I mean, there's a
You got
reason
to be
why
getting
Phaedra,
along with at least
right,
50% of your
right. There's a
girlfriends.
reason why Phaedra's trying to be that bridge for Quad.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. Right. Totally.
Yeah.
The other
So,
thing that I'm curious about from you is, um, you know, Contessa was on the show for 5 seasons. It's hard to find somebody who fits in with this group and can stick around. You know what I
yes.
mean? Like it's difficult because there's so
Yes.
many OGs still around.
Yes.
Did you miss Contessa this year?
I definitely miss Contessa. She brings about a totally different kind of big energy. She
Yeah,
does
I
kind of a
agree.
military style energy. She ain't scared of nothing. But I definitely miss her. But again, I think Letitia and Phaedra brought about some phenomenal dynamics in this group.
Yeah, it was a nice change up. I do miss Contessa because she was great, but I agree. We have two big, very compelling additions.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, totally. To end it,
Woo.
Simone, we're running out of time, but what else can we expect from the rest of the season? We're not that deep into
Mhm.
it yet, and a lot
Yeah.
has already happened, but what else is to come on the season of Married to Medicine?
So you get even a bigger dose, a bigger taste of the dynamics of these friendship groups, and whether or not everybody, if we can even all stay together as friends.
Hmm.
There's an issue that arises with one of the ladies where, you have to wonder if she gets it, if she does any self reflection, or she's still just blaming us for all of the wrongdoings and continuing to play victim. Won't tell you who that is,
I can
but
read between the lines a little bit.
but we're a solid group of friends, and people have to make a decision that they want to be a part of that or not.
Right.
But part of maintaining a group is everybody kind of owning their shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being
Hmm.
really real about it for
Yeah,
sure.
being
I
real
get,
about
yeah.
your part and why things don't always work out with your
Right.
friends.
Right. One follow-up question. I do feel like the first kind of 5 episodes have really been about sort of introducing Sweet Tea, the lead up to the wedding and the wedding. Does post wedding, does it sort of like, is it sort of like a clean slate? Is it like not a clean slate, but is it sort of like okay, that happened. Now we can sort of move on and
It
make it
kind of
about,
levels out where we
yeah,
can move on. She's not going to just stay the focus,
right.
but she was pretty important. We had to get it all figured out. Newbie joining the group and this wedding, and but we get past that where
Okay.
she's just baby T
She's
is
part of
not
the
the
group.
focus.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Well,
Hmm.
Dr. Simone, thanks for taking the time. I know you're at the hospital right now. You have a patient, but I really appreciate you taking the time to talk. And I'm so excited for the rest of this season. I love this show so much,
Thank
and I
you
really
so
appreciate
much
it.
for tuning in. It means
Of
the world
course.
to
Of
us.
course. Well, thanks
Thank
again,
you.
and hope we get to talk again soon.
Thanks,
Hope so.
Kitchen.
I want to gab.